Hello, welcome to the Kubeflow community meeting for the 21st of January 2025. We're going to be hopefully this year not making Josh do all of the hosting. So at this stage, it's going to be rotating between me, Francisco, and Josh still. So today I'll be taking a stab at it. So I'll just quickly outline one of the changes that we're doing to the structure as well, which is that we'll always start with a release update if there's a pending release. Then we'll have a section that's for the whole community. So if people have to leave early, they don't have to be here for a long time or get caught into the contributor-specific discussions. So this section here is about stuff like overall things that we want the whole community to be aware of. They don't have to, and stuff like that. Whereas the contributor section is about for people who actually contribute code to Kubeflow or are leads and need to discuss and have debates and things, which sometimes this was ending up at the beginning of the meeting, and that's kind of why we're trying to push some of that to the end of the meeting now. Of course, community also includes demos and things like that. So have we got someone from the release team here who can talk about the 1.10 release? Ricardo, maybe? Or someone else?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Valentina. I'm here with Ricardo from the release team. We will be both covering the release status. We'll be covering the current status, and then Ricardo will be doing a summary of what's next. So I will share my screen now.
Okay.
1 second.
You able to share? Oh, yes, there we go.
Okay. Let me do this. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. This is a release update for Kubeflow 1.10. So as you can see here, the components that are in green, they are already cut. They already have the features created on the repository, everything implemented. They also cut the release into the repos. And also we have created the manifest synchronization from Julius and Tarek's team. So we have notebooks in red. As we mentioned on the previous meeting, there are not 2.0 will not be part of the release. We are looking into what version of notebooks will be included. It seems 1.9.2. I don't know if Matthew, we want to clarify that now or later. Then the modules that are in yellow, so Carib and Kubeflow pipelines and model registry, I will provide a quick update on each of them. So Carib, they already, so they are currently working on the release, just like cherry picking and building the release from the repository. The Kubeflow pipelines is now, they have done the release. Julius has worked on the manifest synchronization. However, when they are building all the CI tests from GitHub is creating some issues. So the building is not completing. So there are some issues on that process. And right now the Kubeflow pipelines team is working with the platform team and trying to resolve the problem. Within model registry has been released. However, we did have a discussion yesterday on the model registry UI, which has not. So we are trying to find out more information currently. Yesterday information we had was it needed still to be released. We saw some issues still into that. So we are just giving a little more time to find out what the current status is in that important feature of the model registry UI to be included on the release. Spark operator KSAR has been already included on the manifest synchronization. And when I'm saying manifest synchronization, this is all the process that is part of building the whole release for Kubeflow. And then platform manifest is also in green. They are working, as I mentioned, on building all the components so we can have that release. created. With that, I will hand it over to Ricardo, who will be providing what's next based on current status.
Thanks, Valentina. This is nice updates for today. Given that Future Freeze was expected to happen yesterday, January 20th, and we still have issues with 4 of these working groups, we decided to postpone Feature Freeze for next week, but we need help with the working group leads for notebooks, Khatib, pipelines, and other registry to give us as much updates as we can, so we can plan in advance for what to do in case we can have the rest of the components to be their releases cut on time for next Monday. Confirming the date here, 27. So in case we don't have all the working groups finishing to cut their releases and having manifest synced on time for January 27th, our plan is to cut RC0 as is, and then we'll sync up with the rest of the working groups to see if there are any bug fixes, how we can have a plan to release RC1 with the full stack of components available for users to try it out. So this is a discussion for next week. But as for now, all I can say is that we're postponing Feature Freeze for next week. And if we can get all of the components to have the releases cut and manifest synced on time, we'll cut the RC0 as is, and we'll plan with the rest of the working groups about the RC1 to have bug fixes and add the rest of the components that are remaining. Guess that's it. I'll open the floor for any comments and questions.
Yeah, I add a question in the chat, Ricardo. Is that they're here? It's my first release, and probably, and also for the model registry wise, so probably maybe we are going to face some bugs. What is the process? It is a Andre just replied. Is a tag or a branch inside all the repos, right? So we need to merge on main, a bug fix, and then cherry pick for that branch. Is this the correct way?
Yeah, usually, well, it's up to the working groups to rely on their own release process. But like, for example, pipelines usually cut the release by passing a tag and then publishing the releases page for the version. I know Mother Registry doesn't make the latter. It's just passing the tag for it.
The most
I
important
don't
thing to
know
remember
how
is you typically cut it from a branch. You create a branch from wherever you want to start the release from, and then you cut your release candidate from there so that you can continue to work on main without impacting your branch version, you know?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it can be from main on or release branch, but yeah, you must take into consideration how you're gonna make any backward changes if there's any to.
Thanks.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Any other questions, comments?
So the new date is the 27th for the release candidate cut?
That's right.
Cool.
By the way, Matthew, it would be great if you could confirm to us what will be the version we expect to ship into RC0 if we can make it for RC0.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if there's been anything super significant changed. I'll need to. It's just a matter of semantics as to whether we want to technically bump it for notebooks to 1.10. But technically we haven't got, like, historically we've tried to keep the same version number, especially because of the core components being versioned the same, because users see that as the platform version. So I guess that's just a question for us to think about. But if people have PRs, so I made a I think I made an issue last time. Let me just link it here. If people have PRs that they want to see in the notebooks / central dashboard / everything else 1.10 release, please comment them on this PR, on this issue. Where is this? This is this one. 1.10 tracking. Notebooks. And core. Okay. Okay, and then Kubeflow model. I don't know what the actual repo is called. Okay, yes. Cool. So this issue is just something I kind of took all the issues that were pending that didn't get merged for 1.9, and then I moved them into this one. So if someone has any specific bugs or other issues that they really need done, so I'm sure we'll come to them when we're doing testing. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to highlight that. Is there anything else you want to add, Ricardo?
Yeah, I was going to talk about the repo split for Kubeflow, but I believe you already had the topic there. Yeah. So our plans to split the Kubeflow repo into separate components, dashboard, platform components, and notebooks. And this work will start after we cut the RC0, but we are not making it a thing for 110 because it takes a lot of time to finish the repo split. So it's something that we're planning for 111.
I mean, it doesn't really affect the end user anyway, so like it's just a developer thing.
Well, affects the process, but
yeah,
not something that yeah, you're right at that point. It's not something impactful, but it's a last minute change that I don't know if we can finish on time. But
cool.
Yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah, anyway, so obviously I think we're looking at how to get time for people to work on that particular problem as well. Okay. Cool. Anyone got anything else about the release they want to add, either leads or other people? If so, then if not, then let's move on. Anyone? I'll type in the chat if you need. Cool. Friends, thanks. Valentina, you anything else? No? Cool.
No, the slides will be, we are working with Ambedo and having, publish it into the drive accessible for everyone. So we'll add the
link. You can
link
just
there.
share it if you want, and then link it in here.
I cannot, it's inside, yeah. Working on it.
Cool. That would be useful if we had a history of the slides, yeah. Do we have a folder? I mean, I can create a folder in one of the community Google Drives, and you can just upload it there if you would like.
That will be amazing.
Let me just write a note to do that. I'll just open up that community drive and I'll do it for you once.
Thank you. And also one
drive, sorry, Matthew, we can use. We don't have community drives.
We actually do.
Yep,
so Google has an G Suite account associated to Kubeflow.
Yeah, Valentina, I can give you access to the marketing drive if you like want to just upload stuff there for the website.
Yeah, we have the website slides and then we have the release slides.
Yeah.
So
Andre, we do have a community, public community drive.
There's two types. There's
Let's
one that's
discuss it offline. I think we should just have one where like, necessary members have access.
Yeah, so there's one called community meetings. We could use that one.
Matthew, can we do it offline?
Yeah, let's do it offline. Anyway, I'll just open up the drive so we can discuss it. Let's discuss it on the Slack. Yeah, cool.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, Francisco, are you available to talk about Feast? Cool. Do you have slides or do you want to just talk?
I can share just the issues that I had created.
Or I can just open them if you would like, or?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So, well, hello everybody. I'm Francisco. Thank you all for electing me. Also, I know I wasn't able to be here last week to actually share while folks were talking. I watched the recording. Unfortunately, I was traveling, so I couldn't say thank you to everybody. But yeah, I'm a newly appointed member of the Kubeflow Steering Committee, and I've been a maintainer for Feast for the last year, user of Feast for the last few years. And I was able to get consensus among the Feast maintainers. Feast has a long history with Kubeflow, and the proposal here is to donate Feast to Kubeflow, and it makes sense for I think 6 reasons that I've outlined here. The biggest being that I think the benefit to Kubeflow is that it kind of helps complete the picture here, where we have these components within Kubeflow about the AI ML lifecycle. And historically, Feast has been this add-on component, and it was dropped from the manifest. I want to work to add it back in, but before we do that, we wanted to kind of repackage it. There's a separate discussion about like external add-ons. I intend on closing up that discussion, but independently, I think this is kind of the best thing that we can do for the community, which is to donate Feast to Kubeflow. Feast is doing a whole bunch of work to add vector similarity search. It has integrations into Spark and a bunch of different offline stores, what we call for building your training data sets or training data set preparation. And so, it fits really nicely. On the Red Hat side, we're doing a lot of work to add demos on how Feast, pairs nicely with pipelines to kind of orchestrate potential multiple data preprocessing steps. So again, I think this overall will help paint a really good story and infrastructure for a lot of MLOps engineers that are just getting started. And sometimes those things involve like, well, how do I stitch my model serving, my feature serving together? And so that's really the kind of goal of that issue. And I really wanted to invite folks here and the broader community to provide feedback, thoughts, ideas about it. We have a healthy set of contributors. And I think it's a really great opportunity for both projects. So then can we go to the next one? And thank you, Matthew. So the next one is on the working data proposal for the very same reasons I just outlined, donating Feast to Kubeflow. I actually just added a comment at the bottom, because there was a week that we asked for some time to iron some stuff out. And again, the ambiguity of should we include Feast since it's not part of Kubeflow. I'm proposing that we include Feast in the data working group for kind of all these reasons I just outlined. I articulate maybe a little bit more intelligently here. But again, the core need of being able to serve features online is something that you need when serving models in production, whether that's tabular in the old realm, or in context in the new realm with like a vector database behind it. And so Kubeflow will benefit from this, and I think that will meet a big need for the data working group. And just wanted to get folks' feedback and give the chance to discuss it. Yeah.
So who are the actual members of the new working group? Because I mean, this open PR has been open for more than a year, so I assume that the listed members may not be correct anymore.
I think it's still mostly correct. The only open question about Chen, but I'm not sure if he's here today.
No, I think the list is still accurate because there's part of the model registry team, part of the Spark operator team, and now Francisco as the Feast as the Feast lead.
So what does it actually mean for the Feast for someone to be a member of this working group without the working group having any control of that piece of code?
So I think that's part of the plan to donate Feast.
I mean, sure. There's also the question of practically how will that donation take place? Because isn't Feast already part of the Linux Foundation?
It is. So that's the thing I have to kind of figure out and iron out. But I think like my view is that it's probably solvable.
I guess you need to initiate it on your side, probably. Do you have access to like kind of like a support ticket system like we do for the CNCF?
I believe I do, actually. I do have an account, and
so if you can like make maybe a public issue on your side and then have the important people say, yes, we all agree with wanting to do this, and then maybe link that to the CNCF or something, and then be like, what's the process till we do this? And we have to accept it, obviously. But
Oh, right. And so like I was trying to figure out what the sequencing was, like which is why I created a Kubeflow issue first. Because if the appetite was no, then like probably doesn't make sense to go to CNCF. But again, I got the approval from the fee side and seeking approval from Kubeflow side, and then I go to CNCF and see like, hey, look, we have all the approvals. Let's figure this out to donate it.
So we already have precedent with Kserve for migrating from Linux to CNCF.
Oh,
Yeah, so, but I agree with you, Francisco, like we need to find an alignment with community, we need to find alignment with fees maintainers. And then like we need to start this, discussion with Linux Foundation in CNCF.
just to be clear, Andre, we did get alignment, explicit approval
Yeah.
from all the folks from Feast.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, from my perspective, I think this is great. Like, I mean, when Jeremy and David and William discussed this, 5 years ago, the project was originally kind of, derived from Kubeflow ecosystem. And then, like, I mean, from my perspective, like, the only question I have, what will be the scope? So today we have model registry, right? Also have feature store. We've been discussing about, ML metadata, where it should fit, like similar capabilities which MLflow provides today, right? For ML infrastructure. So I think as part of proposal, maybe we should discuss these topics. If you have any ideas.
So where is the model registry living right now?
It's in Kubeflow GitHub org, right?
No. What I mean by that is, does it have a working group? It needs a working group, right?
Yes. Yeah, so our original proposal was to include model registry and Spark operator as part of data working group. We haven't finalized the charter because we had this discussion around Feast and other projects, right? I think like I just want to hear like what community think, because again, I still think we need to have proposal similar to model registry and Spark operator for Feast, right? Yeah, so
And
maybe
I don't
we
want to block them. That's mainly what I'm saying. I don't want to block them from having a working group while we wait for Feast to go through potentially a bit of a process.
Do you mean blocking model registry and Spark operator? So yeah, the thing is like they've already been without working group for a year.
That's what I mean.
Right? I mean, so we have well, Matteo, maybe from model registry perspective, what do you think? Like,
So just very briefly, this was the VG data charter, and that was raised when sort of like for both model registry and the Spark operator. The charter is there for already model registry and Spark operator. So this PR that is currently open already contains, I believe, everything that we need, at least for those systems, and Feast. So the question, I think it was worthy to keep the pull request open for this formalization of the charter, for as well to include the feature store for the reasons that were highlighted by Francisco earlier and are also noted in this pull request. In the meantime, sort of like the work is proceeding. I think that this pull request will be sort of like is something to not forget about, so that we can formalize the charter as Andre was mentioning. I see that also Francisco has raised hand, so please.
Thank you, Matteo. So yeah, I don't think that we need to block the development of the working group if and again, I never wanted to block it. And part of my decision to donate fees to Kubeflow was actually because of this working group, that I didn't want to hold them up, and I wanted to at least kick off a process to state that, hey, look, in sincerity, we think it's the right thing for the project, and we think it's the right thing for Kubeflow. Now, the matter of process as well, we should, have Feast officially in Kubeflow for this working group. I think it's good decorum to have that as like a check in the box done, but I don't think we need to block progress in order to actually start working on it, is my opinion. Now, maybe that's wrong, maybe that's the wrong process, but I do think that, again, with the increase in agents, with the increase in the presence of RAG, this answers a much needed story for our users. And I think that's the lens I'm coming from. And I would rather us have a little bit of an imperfect process to really start to meet the needs of users. And so, we can create another PR later on or whatever, or we could merge this one. But again, I think it's the need that I want to address more than anything else. And I would love for us to get started on this data working group, candidly. So would love any feedback on those thoughts.
Anyone else want to say anything? I've got one thought, but
Yeah, trying to understand what is the biggest thing about the working group data proposal here, because in practice we are already treating model registry Spark operator as part of the data working group. It's not formally set, but in practice we always consider them as part of the data working group. So what's the matter here? Do you plan to keep this PR open until we get Feast officially added to the Kubeflow ecosystem, or we need to make those changes and keep only the moderate and Spark operator team? What's the proposal here?
Yeah, I think that's the kind of key question is like, do we, so like the stance I've kind of tried to take is that like the user need warrants like online serving and again, like RAG, vector similarity search in particular, capabilities to really provide a good solution for a data working group. And Feast is a convenient tool for that for the reason that I outlined. And again, my view is that we don't need to block on migrating Feast into Kubeflow, because that I will do as both the Kubeflow steering committee member and Feast maintainer. So I think like, and given that I got the approvals, at least from the Feast side, you know, I think
I think we all agree with what you're saying, Francisco. I think the thing I just need to highlight to you is that if this becomes the owner of Feast, you have to disestablish all of your governance boards, and this is your governance board. So everyone, for every core decision about Feast, will be these people voting. Is that what you want? I highly doubt it, because these people don't maintain Feast, right? So like that's kind of what I'm saying. This becomes your final authority on Feast, and I don't know if that's what you actually want, right?
I think
it might. Is it? Do you want these
Yeah.
people who don't maintain your project to be controlling your project with only one member?
I think it's a good question, Matthew. I think we should probably discuss it more with steering committee and also with working group leads. But I agree with your statement that we have a problem that the working groups own several components, which probably not be the best scenario for some of the community members, right? We just have this kind of narrative that working groups own multiple Kubeflow components. This is how we've been, running for the last 5 years, right? So maybe we should do something with that, right?
Which other ones are multiple?
So notebooks, for example.
Notebooks is
right?
probably the only one, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of require broader discussion, right? Because I agree with your concern, right? Like, should these people actually be owners of all those components if they don't not really contribute, right? If people like only focusing on the specific components. But if the answer is yes, we need to reestablish our government's structure completely, right?
It also discourages contributions, because it's like, if it's like this control, I understand from like a connecting across the community perspective, I absolutely understand your goal there, Francisco, and I want to support that. But what I'm saying is like, if it's like, how do you become a lead in this working group? Well, maybe it's by contributing to which component, and then I think you could. This is a recipe to create politics. That's my only kind of concern here. That's
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it seems like maybe here that we're getting into the sausage and respect for everyone's time. We got about 23 minutes left in the meeting. And I know you've lost me, so I'm sure anyone else listening to the call might be lost. So it sounds like there's some action items to discuss this with, make sure that they can be donated to Linux Foundation, and then maybe they can be a separate call that has kind of the nitty gritty about Matthew's concerns, for instance, Francisco's intent behind the efforts, et cetera. But I think it might make sense to move on right now.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Last plug, if folks have additional thoughts, please feel free to comment on the issues. Thank you.
Yep, awesome. Cool. Let's keep that going offline. Notebooks 2.0, I just want to highlight that we had an insane amount of people come to the Notebooks meeting last week. It was like nearly like 16 people, with like at least most of them being active contributors to the new project, if not trying to onboard themselves. Which is great. So this isn't technically the tracking issue. This is just the overview of what Notebooks 2.0 is. So share this with your people if you want to know about it. As an FAQ, it's issue 85 on Notebooks, Kubeflow/Notebooks. Yep. So I mean, we don't need a lot more people, but I'm always wanting more, different commercial interests being involved. So if you are a user or a person who wants to contribute and you have real world experience with one of these kind of areas, which is controllers, React APIs for the React and JS for the front end, back end being Go and REST APIs, controller being Go, obviously. So the next meeting is not this week, but the week after. So if you happen to be capable in one of those areas and want to help, we've always got work for you. We're mostly working on the front end right now. We should have mock-ups. Oh, sorry, not mock-ups. Kind of a demo at some point in the next month or two, which will be cool for people to see what it looks like. It definitely will be an early demo. It won't be ready to use. So we'll have some visual aids soon. But the two pieces we're working on right now are the back end and front end. We've pretty much finished the controller. I just wanted to highlight that. If you happen to work at AMD or specifically in the GPU team and Rockham, please figure out your root running issue so that I can ship some official AMD images for notebooks. I haven't seen any response. Oh, there is something. Okay. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring this attention, which is this Rockham issue here. Rockham 90, issue 90, if people work at AMD or can put some pressure on them there, that'd be great. Okay. Okay. I just put this in here not because Amber is actually committed to talk about it. I just copied it from one of the last ones, which is that there is a Kubeflow summit happening at KubeCon in April. If you want tickets.
I'm here.
Oh, hey, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can do this. So we they're getting ready to publish the schedule, so it's not up yet, but CFPs are closed and we've reviewed that. But I will put out a note on Kubeflow Discuss about the need for sponsors for not only swag but for the event, because we are holding a space for a sponsor to give a talk. So and we do have a booth. We were granted a project kiosk, so it will be in the mornings again. I'll put out a note on that. So if you're going to be at KubeCon and you can help staff the project booth, it's only in the mornings of KubeCon. So think about that. So we will need a probably, no less than 2 people per day. We'd like to have more if you're there. So maybe about 9 people total rotating through. So yes, we have a large presence again.
Awesome. And how many, did we get lots of talks, or is this specific to Kubeflow, or is it does it include other topics as
So
well?
we have a talk, I believe, on the maintainer track. We may have a talk on the maintainer summit the day before, but I'm not sure yet. And then we haven't published the schedule for Kubeflow Summit, and I believe there's several Kubeflow talks that have been accepted in KubeCon itself, and we'll get that list as well as soon as they're available.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have an actual one-day Kubeflow
Half
specific.
day.
Oh, half day.
Half day.
Cool. Awesome. Cool to know. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Just watch for the email to Kubeflow Discuss, and I'll also put it in announce too, and put it on our socials that we're going to need some sponsors. So I'll try to get that out this week.
Sounds good. Andre, you still there?
Yeah, we have. How many talks do we have? I can quickly.
This is the last one. If this is related to the whole community, then we can do it. If not,
Yeah. So just maybe like similar to your updates to the Kubeflow training operator, right? So we have a very long discussion around new project name. Please take a look if you want to be involved. I think the main point is we as the working group training want to rename our project to initially we're thinking about Kubeflow Trainer, giving like all the capabilities this project will give you. But I have a very long discussion on this thread, so if you want to give your comments, I encourage you to let us know your opinion on this. Yeah, and like we've done like really great progress. So for 2.0, I linked the tracking issue PR as well here. So if you want to be involved, let me know. We have some, good first issues for new contributors to take a look. We definitely need some more help from the documentation perspective on 2.0, and we need to work for this LM trainer that I discussed last week about the proposal. Yeah, and we have also the initial PR for API support. This is still in progress, but we've done some initial integrations of API operator v2 to be capable to actually create those API-based distributed jobs using these new APIs. So please take a look as well. Any things we want to talk about right now on this call?
Just a quick question, how does this relate to, obviously MPI is commonly used with Slurm. How does it actually relate to that?
So MPI is used for some of the ML frameworks, MLX, DeepSpeed, NVIDIA Nemo is using MPI for distributed communication. You can also use MPI instead of Torch Run for debug purposes, and some people in on-prem don't use Torch Run. The thing is, like MPI is highly scalable and highly performance on NVIDIA GPUs, especially on on-prem, because NVIDIA is built so that they have a specific device placement for MPI. So if you're using MPI instead of using Torch distributed, you will get more performance if you're using the NVIDIA GPUs on-prem. So there is specific chips and specific connectors between the GPUs. So I'm not like 100% expert there, but I know many people who using MPI in production to do inference and training.
And so what does this give us? What does this give your project to implement support for this?
Yeah, so basically it allows us to leverage the Kubeflow trainer APIs for MPI jobs. So today we have MPI operator, right, for MPI jobs, and folks using MPI operator for inference, for training, if they want to use MPI within, AI workloads. But here we're integrating these capabilities to the Kubeflow trainer directly, right?
So will MPI operator continue to exist, or is it going to be
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we know some folks from Run AI who are using this in production. Also, there are many people who are using MPI operator in production, like HPC users. The problem is for us, like this new project, like the train job CRD is focused only on training. However, like MPI operator is also like serve the inference and also the HPC workloads, which kind of like out of scope for our new initiative, right? That is why we need more interest from HPC users, for people who use MPI for inference. So we want to speak with them to see what we can do in this space. Does make sense, Matthew?
Yeah. I mean, of course. Pace, you
Um,
wanting to speak?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do we have any users that are using the MPI operator in production, contributing and helping offload the support load? If now we might have two different ways to do this.
Yes, we have. I mean, they are probably like not very active within, within these meetings. But we know people who are actually using MPI operator in research papers and using in production, right? They just not really worry about other Kubeflow components. But we try to, I know that Yuki, for example, like spoke about these folks in the latest KubeCon in Chicago, sorry, in Salt Lake. So we just don't know like if we can onboard those folks in a new project. The problem is like again, they're using API for inference, not for training. So the question where they should live, right? We probably need to design a new CRD or new project for such things, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
well,
people are using the
yeah.
existing one.
Sorry.
If people are using something already, it's best to probably try and have a migration path for them if you're planning on changing it.
Yeah, but we don't do inference again. In this new initiative, right? New CRDs like train jobs and training runtime, we don't do inference, right? We just do training. So
Yeah, well, okay.
again, I mean, if this call or if you have any HPC users who are using MPI operator, just please reach out to us. We
Right.
try to collect feedback from them like during this proposal discussion. But we're still kind of under this investigation what we should do next with the MPI operator.
Right. yeah, other projects or if this is that critical to people, like if people want to support an MPI operator inferencing, sure, go ahead. But I think the fastest way to see how important something is to say we're considering consolidation and providing migration paths. Then you'll really see how important it is to people, especially as you start to socialize it.
I think I get what you're saying, Andre, though, that it's a generic tool and we're making support for it in the training operator to be used, but then there is other ways people are already using it. So to be clear, though, is it controlled by the working group? It's still controlled by the training working group, the MPI operator.
Yeah, that's right.
And and there's active kind of work going on. Is that that's still happening? Right?
Yeah, yes, and Yuki is like the main maintainer for MPI operator.
And would it be sensible to make a separate working group for that, or is it sensible to try and donate it to another project?
No, I don't think we're there right now, right? Again, MPI is the fundamental technology for distributed workloads, right? I mean, I don't think we want to get rid of this. We just want to see how to make it more consistent, the contribution, like this integrations with Kubeflow ecosystem of components, right? Because it's kind of like living standalone for several years, right?
Well, maybe we should give it its own docs section to start with, because it doesn't have its own docs
No,
section.
it has for the legacy, for the training.
Now it sounds like we're getting back into the weeds on the implementation of the MPI operator. But at high level here, training operator, or the Kubeflow trainer or whatever the new name is, going to start implementing the MPI operator. We also have or MPI. We have an MPI operator, but a lot of it's using for inferencing. The one question I have, Andre, is has NVIDIA, since you're saying this is core to some of NVIDIA's technology, and we do a lot, Kubeflow is great for working with on-prem. Has NVIDIA been contributing to this effort, or can we use this to get some attraction from NVIDIA?
Yeah, they've been using this for inference, right? As I said to us, and they've been contributing to MPI operator GitHub. And just to be clear, training operator V1 has MPI support, right? It's just not SSH based. So again, training operator V1 has support for MPI jobs, but this MPI jobs is not the same as you have MPI jobs within MPI operator. It's kind of hard to understand, but we kind of we've done this migration several years ago to SSH based MPI, but we didn't do this for training operator V1. So in the new Kubeflow trainer project, we also migrating to the V2 of MPI operator, but we're using the implementation within the Kubeflow train job and the training runtime. But yeah, how to encourage NVIDIA folks to get involved? Like, yes, it's a good point, Chase. Like, we've been, having some conversation with them to see if they want to really work with us.
Yeah, and work. I know they've got Bright, which is their Kubernetes distribution. Is there a world where we work well with Bright, right? So people can run Kubeflow on DGXs, et cetera. So I think this is a really cool path and can bring in a lot of communities. Awesome.
Yes, and then the recent, recent CS, right? Like, when NVIDIA, they spoke a lot about NVIDIA NeMo, which kind of like one of the main ML framework for NVIDIA to doing like all of those, foundational models, many of them. And they're using MPI there. I don't know about MPI operator, but MPI is being used for distributed communication. So we'd love to get more folks involved, but I think maybe like we should discuss in our working group calls.
So the only thing I just want to say is like, are we going to give a new section to the sidebar? Because if it's a separate component that we plan to keep supporting, it should have its own docs, right? Because it's different. It's like a different purpose.
Yeah. It's a good point. Let me discuss this in the working group meeting.
Because that makes it real. Like in my experience, when people see a separate component on the sidebar, they think it's a real component. That's usually what defines a component in Kubeflow. So
yeah, well, that's another good point, is officially defining components in Kubeflow, et cetera, and conformance is another.
I mean, in this case, though, it's pretty clear that they're two separate repos, right? So unless they're deployed always together, they're separate components, right? So where are the docs for MPI right now?
That's very clear to you, but if I were an end user, I would have no idea. Unless it's
of course, that's why we. Anyway, let's talk about that in another time. But I just want to suggest that maybe
there would need
we
to
should
be like
that.
How to know it's a component, right? So awesome.
Well, anything that's on the sidebar, I think. But anyway, okay.
Write it down.
Sure. Okay. Anything else you want to add there? Are you asking for any specific help, Andre? Or because then we can move on to the leads agenda, and then people can drop if they need to.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Just provide your comments on this thread that I link the issue if you want to get involved, and let us know for your feedback. Right.
See, this is about your support for MPI within training operator.
Yeah, within Kubeflow trainer, and also about this new name.
I see. Where's the new name PR? Where's the new name PR?
So the website, right? The website PR. this thread that I linked, the second link.
Cool. But this is a very big thread. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
alright.
I mean, it's your guys' decision. The working group needs to vote on it themselves. No one else can. Of course, technically, maybe the steering committee should vote on a rename of a project. Probably, I would say. It seems like a governance issue, but not sure.
I would love, since we're trying to reach out to the greater community, and we're doing a major change, it would be cool if we were more data driven. We can reach out to our community, but also reaching external to the community to bring people into the fold, just to understand what makes sense to name this. I know there's for MLEs, say trainer, Mr. Wicks, you've had a lot of conversations on how thinking about Kubeflow like a cloud platform. So does like a training service make sense? Training operator was really leaning into our Kubernetes roots. So I think this is an interesting conversation, and I would encourage us also to get external feedback on naming. So as we start to grow, since this is a major change, as we start to grow and bring people into the fold, it makes sense kind of based on who our end users are going to be.
Of course, it's fully the decision of the training working group, but I would suggest that maybe we should establish a precedent that the name changes should require steering committee approval. Just out of brand kind of control. Especially if the word Kubeflow appears in the name. Because technically the trademark is controlled by the steering committee.
Don't think we have these statements very much. Trademark is not controlled by steering committee.
It actually is.
Maybe I'm missing something, but
it's delegated, like it's legally owned by the CNCF, but its authority is delegated to the leadership of Kubeflow, which in this case is the steering committee.
Yeah, maybe it's a good topic for steering committee to discuss sometime in the future. So
I think it's explicitly actually in the charter, but anyway.
The more you know.
Okay, cool. So Valentina, are you still here? Do you want to talk about your website updates?
I am. Yes. I mean, yeah.
So this is now
just
just for other people. If you happen to, you can stay if you want. Anyone can stay. Everyone's welcome. But we're just going to talk about some things that are very much in the weeds now. Like we're going to talk about PRs. We're going to talk about code. Well, really, it's just about the website right now. But that's so Valentina's been working very amazingly on all of the website code and PRs that are open, and been doing a good job. Closing out things that have been open for many years and cleaning up PRs that have been open for ages. So thank you for that. So I guess, is there anything specifically you're wanting to highlight right now?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I have some slides as well.
Okay, share your screen if you would like.
If I can
She brings slides.
Yeah, I think it helps with visualization, and it's something that we can track. So lately, I've been working on the issues review. So we have on December, we had 121 issues. So 100 issues has been reviewed. Yes, in the last weeks, it's been a lot of hours and work. I also want to take the opportunity to say thank you to Tarek. He contributed to this effort as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, on making things. So why we are doing this? So first is we really want to keep the website up to date, and we also value everyone's contribution. So I really want to take the time also to say thank you to everyone who had contributed into the website, even reviewing a PR, creating an issue, creating a PR. We take seriously every contribution. That's why we spend hours reviewing each issue, even though the issue was created years ago, to really understand and see if it's still value or not. Is it something that is feasible, like where that fits? The other thing that I want to talk is, when we said we reviewed 100 issues, you were expecting, okay, 100 issues were closed. Well, not that exactly. We closed 59 issues. There are assigned 17, at least yesterday I checked. So those are assigned already, and we are expecting to hear back. But also we do have around 30 issues that we are waiting for the community. Some of them, some of you are being tagged, asking, to review. Others are just waiting for people to work on it, make some updates. So if you have been tagged into an issue or a PR for review or add comments, so please taking some time as soon as you can to provide your input. We only have just like one issue under review. So just to summarize, only 20 issues needs to be reviewed from the, from December to like 2023, I think we have right now. And the rest are being assigned and the other ones are waiting for comments. So if we start looking into what's next, we ask everyone and we have seen a lot of work from everyone. So thank you so much on keeping the issues, adding comments, reviewing the PRs. That's great. But also, as Andre shared, he had a PR on the documentation. Other working groups will probably start sharing also documentation updates about the release. So just keep an eye on it. And if you can contribute, we appreciate it. We did another initiative last year, reviewing the PRs that were open. When those PRs there were around 10, trying to remember, 10, 11, that they needed, we took again the time to review it and see what still is needed or not. So there were 10 PRs that were still needed. We reached out and we haven't heard back in the last months. So we are starting asking the community to help on those PRs because we need those updates, those source code updates on the website. So, if we haven't heard on the last 6 months with an activity, we are taking the opportunity to request for help because we do have a lot of people who want to contribute. So the other thing, we based on these reviews, right, we are reviewing the issues. Sometimes the issues don't have all the information we need to fully understand the problem. So it takes more time to really find out the page. What is the problem? Is this a local issue in a local environment? Is this a documentation that's not updated? Is documentation missing? So I have seen a lot of things going on. So with that in mind, I created a PR for templates for the issues as well as the PR. Sometimes the PRs don't have any comment and it makes it more difficult to approve a PR and understand what's going on. So the PRs are now, waiting to be reviewed. But also, I created another PR to review the labels. So we want to update the labels to have like a better understanding of the areas when we create an issue. Is it assigned to what component and what type of issue are we working on? So if you are tagged on these issues and PRs, please take a look so we can start moving these best practices into the website. And then from the issues, so from those 100 issues, I said there are around 30 that we are waiting. Some of them are being worked on. Other ones have questions. So if there are issues that we couldn't validate that they are needed and we don't hear back, so those issues will be closed on January 31. It doesn't stop you to come back after that and say, well, but if you are tagged on an issue, just keep that in mind. Or if you don't remember, like, hey, maybe I do have something there, just keep an eye on it. With that, I want to invite you where to start with the website. So we do have the contributing and community web pages, but also where to start contributing. So there is a way that you can, for those who are just getting started, that you can filter. So look for the issues that are not assigned, but also with the labels help wanted and good first issue. If you maybe, I saw a lot of contributors that maybe contributed a lot of years back and then are coming back again, just look for help wanted. We do have plenty of issues and feel free to reach out at any time. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for the amazing work on the website. I really appreciate it. Let's keep this going. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
course.
I'll just highlight. So is there any specific thing you need help with right now? I'm going to highlight two that we need to approval for, but
no, just if you've been tagged, please try to review the issue PR as soon as you can.
if you get tagged, sorry, yes, if you've been tagged, yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
There's obviously, I mean, I don't know. So I think I must be on every single issue. So like I've got like 1,000, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, I can send you a list if you want.
Yeah, for me specifically, that'd be helpful. The ones that are most important, because I just have I think I'm on almost every issue, so it's kind of like it is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like
and
yeah,
if
it's hard to go
everyone,
through.
no, that's perfect. Everyone else needs help understanding, like, hey, there's a lot going on. What is that I should be looking? Just reach out, let me know.
Yep. Okay. Also, I did fix, as a side note, the really old branches had some.
Imagine before, can I ask you a question to Valentina? I know we're over time, but I think this is amazing. Maybe you can also send your presentation slides to the Google group. I think this is a good idea for exposure. And I would love to get some, from maybe Josh or Amber, how we can get more folks involved and have Valentina with this. Because I think that the documentation was one of the biggest ask for our users for last 5 years.
One idea, so sorry, not just Josh anymore, but one idea that I spoke with Amber is once we finish the cleaning that is expected probably in a couple of weeks, in February, like create a blog and talk more about like the best practices that we have created and how to start working with the website. What are the most interesting things? Because we do have things for different skills levels. So I think it's important to highlight that. So that is one idea that I spoke with Amber, but yeah, could be anything. So yeah, if anyone else had more ideas, please reach out. I just think also we need to update probably the contributions guide. But yeah, anyone else more ideas?
I mean, so yeah, there's lots of that's the really old version. Most of the website's relatively up to date. The only part that really needs fixing is support, and obviously this part is going to need a lot of community discussion because of course it is. But this part is like the only core page that I think is really out of date. We need to, like, how do you get support for Kubeflow? Because then it raises the question of who are we? Because effectively this is an ad, right? So like, yeah, I just wanted to highlight this page as one that we should discuss, but who knows? Okay. I fixed HTTPS issues on the old 0.7 branches. I had to contact Natelify and get them to fix it. For some reason, our certificate was invalid for some reason. So I got them to fix it. Shouldn't happen again. So they shouldn't get any HTTPS errors anymore. The new events page is the only one that I really want because I'm getting 3 to 4 contacts a day from GSOC students. So like if we could, I know that there's some discussion about having a separate page or whether we should have a 2025 and a 2024 page, and also whether we should have the GSOC page up before we're even formally accepted. But again, the main goal here is to add a new section on the top. That's not helpful. On the top bar like this. Display preview. So my main goal is to I added this section up here just so that it attracts the people who are messaging maintainers. And then when you click on it, you get a nice introduction based off their new video that Google published. It says we plan to participate. It doesn't say we are participating. We could make it more warning, technically we're not officially in yet if that's what's required to get this merged. It also refactors the old section and includes links to the recordings of all the old conferences that we've done. So yeah, if this is, I'm trying to understand what's blocking this from getting merged. Anyone?
So there was a concern, I think, about that we didn't. What I saw on the PR was a concern about we didn't confirm to be part of the event. That was my understanding. If you scroll up, I'm good with the changes, but
we can just put a warning note here. So I guess there's two concerns that I think Jan raised, which was that we technically aren't officially in the 2025 yet. Which, I mean, we can just add a note here saying technically we're not approved yet, and I can put that if you would like. And then the other thing he was concerned about was I've made a new page rather than using the old page, partially just because I want to keep the old project information here, but also I think his proposal was maybe we should have a /GSOC page that we use for every year. But I mean, I kind of like keeping an archive of the old events as we go, but
yeah,
which is harder to do if we use the same page.
Yeah, and go how it is right now, but also, yeah, if there are other concerns, we need to address it. I don't know if anyone else had any other comments.
Yes, if you want to look at the page, anyone's free to go to this PR. I'll post it in the chat. But yeah, I'd love to get it merged as soon as possible because it's insane. Honestly, I'm getting so many contacts about people like, oh yes, I just want a GSOC, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I wish I had a place to link them and that they would be more likely to look here first. You know.
Yeah, and thank you for doing this. It's a lot of work and it looks great.
Yeah, so obviously once we have the project ideas, we'll track them down here just like we did for 2024. But and part of me thinks, yeah, okay, we probably should include the mentors there, but last time we included them and it caused more contact as well. So, but again, the main thing is it's like, what are the eligibility requirements? What are the steps? And what are the dates? Because otherwise people just are like, oh, how do I even do it? And that's the main question people ask. So, and they don't understand that there's thousands of people who are going to apply. So, yes. So if it's required to get it merged, I'll add a note at the top, and then hopefully we can get it merged in the next week.
Yeah, and we can remove it at any time. I guess, yeah, and yeah. I think that would be my suggestion. If you can just remove, the concerns from, from others, and just make updates afterward, I think that will speed up the process.
Also, I think you asked about a drop down. I think it's important to have Kubeflow Summit there as well. And I don't think we should ever have more than 2, but the goal is to draw people's attention, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, you didn't say that. Sorry, actually, that was.
I need to take a look at the other one. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, so I guess the only real question is around this. Like, this is obviously a new top bar banner section, so it's quite prominent. But also, I added a link to the Kubeflow Summit 2025 as well here. Because my goal is that once we're finished an event, we should post to the YouTube links on the sidebar. So like when you watch, click that one, you'll end up on the Kubeflow Summit page, for example. Okay, cool. Anyone else got anything about that? And Andre was here, but he not here now, so he obviously wanted some help with some Katib PRs for some reason. So I guess I don't know exactly what he was wanting here, but if you are a maintainer of Katib, then maybe take a look at these or not. If you're a reviewer, I don't know. Cool.
Yeah, they
Anyone
need to
got
be
anything else?
reviewed. So he
Oh, yes.
asked, yeah. We shared it also on the Kubeflow platform channel, Slack channel.
Okay, cool. Anyone else got anything? If not, then we'll stop the recording. People can stay around if they would like. Thanks for coming. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you. Bye.